is this a genuine question? Or are you asking this question as a way to imply, like, oh, you can't have been through such negative things because you're so positive? But you know what? I'm going to break it down for you, because I don't want anyone else reading this and reading any comment that could be perceived as unpleasant to think that you have to act a certain way as a victim. First of all, I don't know what gender you are, but no uterus, no opinion. And secondly, you don't have any right to judge how somebody behaves or how somebody speaks about their trauma. And my trauma was quite a long time ago, and I've done years of work on myself in therapy. Secondly, I grew up in a dysfunctional, abusive, traumatic environment. So I have been dealing with horrible situations, like I was abused by my stepmother and I was groomed as a child and sexually abused. And this was all completely normalized, and I was expected to just take it and acknowledge it and think that this was completely normal. Like no one in the family ever identified this as being wrong, and I was never encouraged to seek help for it. So I think that I have developed this ability, no matter how that bad things got in my life, I show up and look like I mean business. And just because my heart might be broken from something on the inside or might be going through trauma, that's not necessarily the side that I'm going to show on social media. And I have done loads of work around it. And I'm also a qualified NLP practitioner, hypnotherapist, and life coach. And I've used a lot of these kind of techniques from Tony Robbins and Joe Dispenza. I've had years of self-development work. I've spent a lot of money on it to get to a point where talking about these things no longer triggers an emotional response in me. And that's what I would hope for everybody that's been a victim of these types of crimes, to get to a point where it no longer weighs you down, where you can release it. The real emotion that I feel about it now is anger, because it happened. But no, I'm not traumatized by it anymore. If I sound positive about it, I don't know if positive is the right word, but I certainly have no issue speaking about it. And in fact, sorry, I should have said trigger warning at the beginning of this, but I make a point of using the word rape as often as possible, because I know how triggering that word is when you have been a victim of it. And it still makes me feel a little bit gross when I say I have been raped. But I intentionally do that to break the stigma and the shame and the trauma around the whole action, what happens to victims. We victims, like Giselle Pellico said, the shame is not for us, the shame is for them. We should be able to say it, we should be able to talk about it. And I hope that anyone that's been through something similar also gets to a point in their life where, hey, you don't have to sound positive about it, but you can talk about it without feeling ashamed, without feeling gross, or without it triggering something really traumatic.